This is episode number 12 of The Inspiring Talk with Dr. Sukhi Muker. Welcome guys to The Inspiring Talk. My name is Bijay Gautam. I'm host for this show. Each week I interview today's most successful and inspiring personalities to help you realize your inner potential. My guest today is Dr. Sukhi Muker, and I'm super excited for this one. Dr. Sukhi is an award-winning doctor, best-selling author of the book Beyond Body, Beyond Mind, and global speaker. As an advanced biohacker, he has spent the past 25 years studying the brain and nervous system as it relates to health, healing, and maximizing human potential. He is a master at developing people, teaching the mindset for success, and has developed proprietary neural integration techniques that have touched the lives of hundreds of thousands worldwide, helping them shatter their limits and achieve extraordinary results in every area of life. His TEDx talk has been viewed for more than 110,000 times on YouTube in past 1 year, and he is a frequent speaker at mega events and conferences. He has utilized his powerful strategies to overcome the darker shades of his own life and become a 7-time Ironman Finisher and complete challenging 100-mile ultramarathon with successful podium finishes. In this episode, we talk about how Dr. Sukhi almost gave his own life to drugs, crime, and violence. What shapes our choices and how can you make right choices in your own life? We also talk about comfort zone, morning ritual, building endurance, and lot more. Make sure that you share this episode with your friends by visiting theinspiringtalk.com/12. Guys, before I welcome Dr. Sukhi, I would like to share with you a quick offer on web hosting if you are looking forward to build your own website. My website, theinspiringtalk.com, is hosted with Bluehost, and I love Bluehost for its easy single-click integration with WordPress. I usually get reply to my email within 24 hours, and they have also assisted me through phone to get my issue resolved. If you'd like to check them, go to theinspiringtalk.com/Bluehost and use coupon code TIMEOUT and get up to 51% off on shared reseller and WordPress hosting. The link is theinspiringtalk.com/Bluehost and coupon code TIMEOUT to get up to 51% off, valid till the end of November 2017. Now, without further ado, let me welcome the one and only Dr. Sukhi Muker. Welcome back, guys. Dr. Sukhi is here with me. Welcome to the Inspiring Talk, Dr. Sukhi. Thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
So, Dr. Sukhi, you have an Indian origin. Your parents come from Punjab in India, right?
Yeah, my family is, the short version is my family. My father originally born, right in the Kashmir border, Pakistani side. When he was 6 months old, that's when independence was declared. So they had to leave, and my grandfather, my father's father and mother, they were 18 and 17 years old when my father was 6 months old. They, made the journey and, bloodshed, etc. They settled in Punjab, and my father had 3 siblings. So 2 younger brothers and a younger sister. And my father was 16. My grandfather sent him to Scotland so, he could effectively have a better life and send money back for his brothers and sisters. And eventually, in Glasgow, Scotland, we migrated to Canada in Vancouver. I was born in Glasgow, and and what happened was, my father fell upon challenging. He got laid off, fell upon challenging times. I was raised in the poorest community in Canada, actually, and my parents work long hours in the factory. And I always say, I could talk about this on the podcast, but children here in North America, we're either parented or parented. And what that means is if there's a relationship with your parents, the child will bestow the responsibility of their direction, their life in their parents' hand. And in my case, I had wonderful parents that loved me, but they weren't present. because they leave early in the morning and they come back late at night. And then I was parented. So then you learn through behavior on the streets. And when you're raised in an environment of crime with violence and things like that, then all of a sudden I just became a product of that environment and, almost got swallowed up in that environment. I hit rock bottom, almost lost my life when I was 18. And for then, it's just been a journey, almost like a spiritual awakening when I was 18 years old to, the journey that I've been on now. And first it was to improve my life, but eventually led to a place where I wanted others to really maximize their potential and be the best version of themselves. So my whole journey began with, I spent 11 years in post-secondary school. I've got 3 different degrees, and my area of expertise is really allowing people to tap into the power and potential within the brain and nervous system and how we can do that. And my whole work around the healing modality works on really allowing that power and potential that really animates every cell, tissue, organ within us to do its job more efficiently, more effectively. Personal development allows us to really cultivate and nurture that power and potential of who we authentically are deep down inside. So that's a short version of my story.
Absolutely amazing, Dr. Sukhi. I really love the journey or life that you have come through. I was really looking forward to this conversation with you. I was even more excited after seeing your reply to my mail, and I felt really happy for your appreciation about me leaving my comfort zone to put this show together. And it indeed is not easy to leave your own comfort zone. And I'm really glad.
Yeah.
And it's so inspiring to see the way you shaped your own life, especially coming out of darkest phase of your life. I would like to begin our conversation from there.
Let's do that.
Please talk about 18 years old Sukhi, who was surrounded by drugs, alcohol, crime, and violence.
Absolutely. Like I said, children are either parented or parented, and my parents loved me immensely, and they just weren't around enough. And so you become a product of your environment, and you think that success looks like this thing that's out on the street with, people that are like, drug dealers and criminals and people like that. And as a young child, you think, well, maybe if I do that, then I'm happy and I'm successful. The short of it was I was not a happy child. I was not fulfilled from within. And I thought that if I achieved these things on the outside, then I would feel happy and fulfilled. And so I embarked on that journey to a point where, I had addictions, I hit rock bottom, and I became depressed and I became suicidal, and I actually tried to take my own life. And I share this in my book, Beyond Body, Beyond Mind. It's the first few pages of the book where, I was 18 years old, and the thought, it's interesting when you get to a place in your life where the thought and the idea of taking your life is more appealing than actually living. And I had a failed suicide attempt. And then it was a procedural, failed suicide attempt. But then in that moment, the idea of staying was a little bit more appealing than taking my own life. And then I literally, that was the start of my journey, because you see, when you're in this environment, and this is really important for a lot of your viewers and for people in India and where you live and wherever you live listening to this, is that I thought that environment was life. But I didn't realize if I left that environment, drove 30, 40 minutes in another direction, there was another world that I had no idea existed, because I was raised in this world. You see, and you think that, people are harsh. It's a dog eat dog world. You got to be tough. You got to be strong. People take advantage of you. People are not kind. People are not loving. That was the environment it was. Like I said earlier, it was the poorest, most challenging environment in all of Canada. They said we have postal codes here. It was the poorest postal code in Canada at the time that I was raised in. And, the short version is, on the other side of it, here I am since 26 years later, I now live in the most affluent and abundant community in Canada. So that's been my journey, and it all came from, serving other people and getting that. But that was my rock bottom, where I realized that, there had to be more to life than this. And so I went seeking, and really from that moment until today, I call myself a student. I'm a student of life, because life is constantly teaching us. We just can't always see the lessons that life is showing us. We don't have the consciousness or the awareness to really begin connecting the dots to have an understanding of what's happening.
Yeah, it's insane to see, the moments of the life that you have been through, and almost coming from those thoughts of giving your life away and coming to contributing to the world in the best possible way, and you have transformed the whole game. And I pretty much agree with what you just said about how the environment shapes about who you become, because when you are spending a lot of time with those kind of people whom you shouldn't be spending with, and that really shapes you and install you the habit, and those kind of mental pictures, or that kind of mindset when you spend time with those kind of people. And how was your transformation journey started? What was, let's say, the first thing that you did when you said, okay, stop, this is not how I want to live the rest of my life. I want to bring change in my life. But you know what, I'm pretty sure it was not as easy as it sounds, when we say, or when you talk about that. But I know, how hard it would have been for a guy who has been into drug and into alcohol and into, whole kind of stuff. And now, how was that, transformation journey started?
Yeah, that's a great question, because when you hit rock bottom and literally you're suicidal, and I thought, after age 18, I thought about committing suicide every single week for the next 2 years. I was still depressed. I literally entered a catatonic phase for almost 3 months, where I couldn't even leave my bed. And the doctors wanted to give me drugs and this and that, and I wasn't well educated at the time. I was very street smart, but I didn't have a post-secondary education at the time. But logic told me it was poor choices and drugs that got me here. I didn't understand how more drugs was going to get me out of here. And this is, growing up, I was always very athletic. I was always into sports. I was very good in sports. Growing up here in Canada, I played ice hockey. I was a freestyle wrestler. I played rugby and lacrosse. I excelled in sports. And so I had a really big interest, BJ, to really understand how this mind, how this body works, and what this elusive idea of the human spirit actually is. So I really went down a path, and eventually, I'll say when I hit rock bottom, some days getting out of bed and putting on a sweatshirt and a pair of jeans was the biggest accomplishment I had in a day. Like, it was the lows of lows. But eventually, I could walk out and sit on the couch. Eventually, I could walk outside of the house for 2 minutes. Eventually, I could walk down the street and back for 5 minutes. It was very, very basic, simple steps. And I eventually found myself going to a local library, and literally a book fell off the shelf. I was 18 years old, and the book that fell off the shelf was by Napoleon Hill. It was a book. It literally fell off the shelf, like fell on the ground. Like there was no books on the ground. You walk through a library, there's thousands of books, right, in these aisles, right? The book literally, as I was walking by, fell off the shelf and like almost hit my foot. And I picked it up, and it said,
like, that book wanted, man, read me.
It was like a divine moment. Like, I don't know how else to explain it. And, I picked up the book. It was written by Napoleon Hill decades ago. And the title of the book was Think and Grow Rich. And I picked it up. And when I picked it up, I had this tingly feeling in my body. That's the first book I ever read in my life. And that book, BJ, opened up. I don't know if you've read that book, but that book opened up my mind to a world I did not know existed. And then as a result of that, I just wanted to learn more. And, if I fast forward, I have 3 different degrees, physiologist, master's, a doctorate. I studied very hard, not to get grades, but to learn, to understand. And I spent decades studying quantum physics and subatomic particles and energetic patterns. But really, my area of expertise was this. Imagine this for a moment. We have this amazing technology in our bodies. It's our brain and nervous system, okay? So imagine this for a moment. There's over 100 trillion cells in the human body. Every single cell, Fritz Albert Popp is a leading biophysicist. Every single cell, BJ, will go through 100,000 chemical reactions. This has been measured through light emissions every single second. So imagine that, 100 trillion cells, 100,000 chemical reactions every single second.
That's uncountable. That's huge.
I don't even know what number that is. It's so big, but get this.
Yeah.
It's all perfectly organized, perfectly synchronized by the power and intelligence within the human nervous system.
Oh.
The human nervous system is the most advanced biological system on the planet. And so this is what I'll say. I'll say even you, me, every person on the planet, inside our mother's body, the intelligence within the nervous system took us from 2 cells to 100 trillion cells in about 40 weeks. 2 arms, 2 legs, a heart, all the systems. And that power and intelligence stays with us for the rest of our life. But here's the deal. The majority of humanity is accessing less than 1% of that power and intelligence. So for me, for the past 26 years, I have been studying, researching, and developing systems and processes of how we as humanity can tap more and more into that power and that potential. And that's really been my journey. I train doctors around the world, and I get them to really allow the cultivation. It's like if you cut yourself, right, on your finger, you put a Band-Aid on, and then a week later you take the Band-Aid off, you can see brand new skin cells, brand new epithelial cells. What healed that? Your nervous system did that.
Nervous system.
Your own body. We are self-healing, self-regulating organisms. When we create, this is the analogy I use. I talk about this in my TED Talk. I say, if you have 2 beds of soil, organic, natural, all the nutrients, all the minerals, one on the right, one on the left. The one on the right, I cultivate, I nurture, I put seedlings, I put plantings, I give it water, I give it sunlight. 6 months later, I have flowers, I have food, I have something amazing. The one on the left, same bed of soil, but I completely ignore it. If I ignore it, what do I have 6 months later? Weeds. That, my friend, that sums up the health, the well-being, the consciousness, the potential within humanity. And that's it. That's really what it comes down to. I know our time here is short, but that's been my journey with everything. So for me, I've developed systems that allows our nervous system to process and integrate. And how I share that is this. So my journey was, how was I able to heal through everything I went through, all the trauma, all the challenges from a child, age 14 to 18, all that stuff in my environment. And this is what I've learned. The nervous system is how we interact with our environment. Our perception of reality is completely dependent on our nervous system and brain. And this is how it works. When you have an experience that you integrate and process, it's like the nervous system is like a computer that has a bandwidth or capacity. And the experiences within your bandwidth or capacity, you integrate really well. I watched a beautiful movie the other night. I read a great book. I had a great conversation with a friend, or I had a great day at the office, talking to my colleagues.
Yeah.
Anything that inspires you, uplifts you, moves you forward, you biologically integrate. Yeah. And quantum physics says we take the particles from those experiences and add them to our cells and particles and increase our frequency, and we take a small step forward in our evolution and growth as a human being, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And all you have to do is look at a child. I have a 4.5 and 1.5-year-old daughters, 2 daughters.
Oh.
And I can see them developing and evolving and growing. This is how we integrate. This is how we process. Now, on the flip side, right? If we have any experiences beyond our computer system, beyond the bandwidth of the nervous system and our power and potential, the nerve system says, whoa, I can't quite process this.
Yeah.
But I know this experience is a gift, even though I can't see the gift in this moment. So in this moment, it's stress. But what happens is these patterns, BJ, they build up within our biology and nervous system. And we now see through the lens of that experience. And the analogy I'll give you is this: is like if you had like trauma as a child and people around you took advantage of you, and you do not integrate that. As an adult, you believe people can't be trusted and the entire world is trying to take advantage of you.
Absolutely.
Because that's the lens of perception locked within your frequency and consciousness within your nervous system. So one of the things I've done is develop a system to help people integrate and process that information so you can transcend it. So you can be like, you know what? Like me, I had a rough childhood. I had a rough upbringing, but I actually know the world is a very loving and beautiful place. And there's not bad people. There's just disconnected people, maybe not doing the greatest things. But if they connected to their soul and who they are, they would live a very different life.
Yeah. And
that's been my path, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And, first, I would like to thank you so much for like being so honest with my audience, and sharing your story. And it's quite a journey coming through all the phases and stages that you have come in your life. And thank you for bringing up about integrating our life experiences. And I really wanted to ask you and was keen in learning about that, about the integrating and processing our experiences. Because, what happens most of the time is when we associate something or some experience with some kind of negative emotion or negative state, then that gets locked in our head and we don't even think of changing our perception if we were not to integrate, and if we do not process that. And I really love about that.
Exactly. Yeah. And one of the things I'll add to that is like they've done studies and like they'll get people, like for example, they get athletes to like sprint down a track and they measure their nervous system. Then they get the same athletes to lay down on a bed and visualize sprinting down the track, and they measure the neurological firing. The nervous system actually doesn't know if they're really sprinting down the track or just thinking about sprinting down the track. So like the neurological firing is very similar. So it's like if you've had an experience 20 minutes ago, 20 days ago, 20 years ago, that when you think about, you still have an emotional charge. If you feel anything except peace and gratitude, that means your nervous system is still integrating and processing it and is holding you back from fully living life. So like you think about your challenges and stresses that we've all had. And if you have a charge, like you get angry, you get frustrated, you get sad and this, that means your nervous system is living in the biology of that trauma, challenge, or hardship. And there's less bandwidth available today because your nervous system says, hey, we're still processing yesterday. So we don't want you going out having too much today. This is what we call a nervous breakdown, a nerve system breakdown. And I'm sharing all this with you because this is exactly what happened to me when I was 18. And the simple act of sleeping, laying in bed, and healing and taking time allowed me to integrate all the challenges and hardships I went through. And then I realized this is actually, we actually know 99% of illness and disease is lifestyle related. And we know that stress this is a model for stress because it's another verbiage of using how stress builds up in the body and locks us there. So yeah, these are some of the ideas of how I developed my thesis and really understanding health, healing, and where my true passion is maximizing human potential.
Oh, awesome. And You have come through first inning of your life, and that was really tough. And do you believe, you would have the understanding about life and have been able to become as better human as you are today if you have not hit rock bottom or faced that phase of your life?
Yeah, people say like, what's been your greatest challenge? And honestly, this is the way that I do it. Like, grab a piece of paper and draw a big circle on that paper and put a dot in the middle of that circle. That dot, BJ, that's our comfort zone. When you're in your comfort zone, there is no growth for you. There's no evolution. Yeah. It's like, if you want to make a muscle stronger, you have to lift weights and stress the muscle. You have to get your muscle out of the comfort zone. It's the same thing with life. So as you go to the edge of that circle, you're getting further and further out of your comfort zone into discomfort, into a place where farther outside of your circle is extreme challenge. To me, the challenges in our life are not meant to stop us. They're not meant to hold us back. They're not meant for us to not share our greatness with the world. In fact, it's the opposite. The challenges in our life are meant to help us discover, stop covering up who we authentically are and what our gifts are and how we can make this world a more beautiful place. That's the catalyst of a challenge. So to me, the greatest challenges are the greatest gifts. In the moment, we don't see them as a gift because we don't have the consciousness yet. But as we integrate and process the challenge, we can see it with a new perception and a new consciousness. So as a result, we can transcend it and grow and learn, because ultimately we're all here to grow, learn, and evolve. So to me, my greatest challenge is actually just my greatest gift. Had I not went through what I went through, had I not hit rock bottom, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. I wouldn't be serving humanity the way I do. I wouldn't be on a mission to, one of my missions, like what gets me up in the morning is I want to leave this world for my daughters and their generation a better world than I entered it. That's what gets me up in the morning. That's what excites me.
That's so beautiful. Awesome. Amazing. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That makes it complete sense. And, it's all about, again, as you said in the, quite a moment back, about integrating and processing the, your experience in a way that saves your future rather than it, tears it down and, leave nothing with you. There must be people out there who's listening and thinking like, I have been through this phase, or maybe somebody might be saying, okay, that's where I am. I think that it's the rock bottom stage in my life.
Yeah.
And saying, yeah, that's my story, and I want to call this an end. So what would be your message to those people out there?
Well,
who are really, in the dark phase.
In the dark phase of it. So, some of the things that I'll say, that these are the things, BJ, I wish I knew then that I do know now. That the universe is always guiding us, and the universe always has our back. And life is truly a journey with no destination. And when you do the right things, you can actually move through those challenges, those dark times with ease, grace, and efficiency. And it all comes from knowing that you have this amazing intelligence, this amazing power, and this amazing potential within you. You just need to cultivate it and allow it to express more and more.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Amazing. I also wanted to talk a bit about your parents. And, they have helped you in many ways to come out of your, addiction and crime and all those things. So what were some deepest values that you acquired from your parents and want to percolate down to your kids?
Absolutely. First and foremost, unconditional love. Love is everything. And I was unconditionally loved, and I was accepted, even though I was making poor choices in my life. And that, and that's embedded in the Indian culture. I've been to India over a dozen times. My company that I'm with, we actually just released in India, where we have actually nutrition for the brain and nervous system. We literally have just released there last month.
Wow.
And so,
Awesome.
my parents taught me a few things. They taught me that love is a powerful force. And regardless of what showed up, I was unconditionally loved and accepted. They loved me more than I loved myself. And eventually I began to believe them more than I believed myself. The other thing that my parents have shown me, I mean, they've been through, being immigrants and all the challenges that come from being an immigrant, raising in that environment, is, my father taught me the power. My father is one of the, he's an amazing human being, one of the most hardworking human beings I've ever met in my entire life. And, he taught me a work ethic. He didn't teach it to me. He showed me. And here's the thing that I know too, is that, if I tell, my children to not eat sugar and eat healthy vegetables, and then I eat sugar every day and not vegetables, what are they going to do? They're just going to watch me. We need to,
absolutely.
Like Gandhi said, we need to be the change we want to see in the world. So my father showed me, he rolled up his sleeves. He worked every single day, and little things like, he's a very good mechanic. He can fix anything. We'd be driving, BJ, it'd be pouring rain here in Vancouver, and someone's pulled over on the side of the road. My father, so kind, would always pull over, help them out. And, I'd be in the backseat. Let's just go home, Dad. He's like, no, we'll help them out. They're stranded. Like, just the kindest, most hardworking, kindness goes a long way in this world. And it's so hardworking. And, he showed me those qualities and those values that in the end are so ingrained in who I am. I don't believe life is meant to be easy. I believe we're meant to become more accountable and serve the world around us to make this world a better place. And right now, I can't tell you enough how much we need people that are waking up, connected to who they are, to make this world a better place. Now's the time more than ever than we need this.
Yeah, absolutely. And I pretty much believe love and kindness from your parents helped in several ways for you to come out of that. And, first half of your life, you lived allowing the circumstances around you dictate your life. You made the worst possible decisions, and that continued,
until I hit rock bottom. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
until
again,
you hit the rock bottom.
And I'll say, what a gift from the universe, right? The universe said, okay, you're going to make those decisions. This is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And you're eventually going to wake up. For me, that's what it took. Yeah.
And you really woke up to that, reality one day. And, what fascinated me about the phase of your life, and what I'm very keen in understanding, is why do we make those kind of choices in our life? After many, many years since you started this beautiful and inspiring inning of your life, can you please talk a bit about your understanding about the choices and decisions we make in our life, and what guides our choice?
Yeah. I mean, that's huge, right? So, this is what I'll say, is that in life, there's two things. We make decisions from the majority of people in this world, over 90% make decisions based on their emotions. And the other 10% make decisions based on their values. And here's the deal. When you're connected, at a soul level to who you are, you just did a prayer, meditation, you feel very whole, complete, connected. Your emotional guidance system will move you in the right direction. The biochemistry, you have endorphins, you have serotonin, you have dopamine, all this good stuff being released. It's going to guide you and move you in the right direction. But the challenge is, it's impossible to live in that biochemistry 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So when we're disconnected, there's another biochemistry. It's a fight or flight response. It's epinephrine, norepinephrine, cortisol. And at that time, our emotions deceive us. And at that time, we must default to our values. The values are what's important to me. Right now, my emotions are saying, eat this cake. But my values are, I'm trying to get healthier. Let's take the salad instead. Do you see what I'm saying? So like what am I going to do? Am I going to listen to my emotions or listen to my values? The challenge is most people only listen to their emotions. 50% of the time, our emotions are deceiving us because we're living in this moment where we're not actually aligned to what I call our North Star, our big visions, what I'm intending for my world. And literally those emotions are nothing more than unintegrated imprints within our conscious nervous system and mind, which create a lens. It's like, oh, wow, I had that chocolate cake last week. It tasted so good. I want more chocolate cake. Versus like your commitment to lose 15 pounds and get healthier because you have diabetes or cardiovascular disease. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so
that makes a complete sense.
So it's like, for me, my invitation for people is, what do you value? You know, and I'll tell you, for me, my number one value is my health. Because if I lose my health, my wife, my children who depend on me, I now have to depend on them. So my health is the most important thing in my life. Number two is my family. Number three is my service and contribution to the world. What I do, my thesis, how I impact humanity in the ways that I do. Those are my top three values. So for me, it's very easy. If you put something in front of me, is it making my health better? Is it making my connection and my family better? Or is it contributing to my service, which is my purpose is to really expand consciousness, allow people to maximize their potential? It's a very easy yes, no. And I could be feeling down that day or I could be feeling up that day. My values don't change.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's easier when you have that clarity of your values within you. You know, they have to, let's say, a kind of filter that you have put on yourself. Okay.
Yes.
I have these 3 questions that I would ask before I take any action. And, you know, I mean, that makes your decision easier. And, I mean, that makes a complete sense about that. And you also talk a lot about biological aspect of being successful and making change at cellular level. Can you share a bit about attuning oneself, you know, biologically and neurologically to get what he wants in life?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, one of the things I love to do is understanding the art of manifestation. And here's a short story. If you understand quantum physics, every single idea, every single possibility, you know, I want to have this relationship. I want, you know, this job or this business. I want to make X amount of money. I want to travel to this place to vacation or experience. All those ideas in quantum physics tells are waves of possibility floating around in the air. It's when our conscious intention, okay, I want to have this vacation. So let's be hypothetical. Let's say you want to have, BJ, you want to have a vacation in Greece one day. So you set that intention. That intention all of a sudden attracts that wave, and that wave begins to collapse into a particle. When it collapses into a particle, then we get to experience the reality of that idea, which is you getting on a plane going to Greece. And it sounds, you know, strange how I just said that, but that is how we manifest. That is the science of manifestation. So what that means is that when you start thinking about things and giving conscious intent to things, what you're doing is you're changing the frequency. Your nervous system is attached up at your spinal cord, C1, base of your sacrum, and it goes through your spinal cord. And that's where your power and potential is. That's where your frequency and vibration is greatest. And it's like, if you see like a musician and they tune their instrument, like they tune a guitar before they perform, we can attune our nervous system with our intent, raising our vibration and frequency within ourselves to that idea, allowing the materialization and manifestation of that.
Yeah.
And that's effectively what we're doing is we're increasing consciousness. We're increasing vibration. And here's the gift, BJ. Life is not about, you know, achieving goals. Life is not about, you know, having this outside success. Life is about becoming the human being that's worthy of those experiences, that's worthy of that vacation. Who do you have to become in this moment? And in my book, I talk about a lot of people say, hey, once I have this, then I'll become that. No. It's be, do, have. I have a paradigm. It's called you become that now. If you were the person to take that vacation, who would you be in this moment? How would you walk down the street? How would you talk? How would you communicate with people? How would you dress? You become that in that moment.
As you already have that, and you have already on that, you already are on that vacation.
Absolutely. It's as if it's like, I'll give you an example. Somebody, they want to earn more money. They want more abundance. This is a common theme in our world. And they're meditating, they're visualizing, they're setting the intention. And then all of a sudden they get their phone bill and they got overcharged $5. Well, I have a saying, all of a sudden they're getting pissed off. They're getting upset. Why did they overcharge me $5? I'm like, the universe is always watching. So guess what you've just done with your meditation, your visualization, your intention from the morning? You threw out the window because you're getting upset about $5. It's not $5,000. It's $5.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
$5, yeah.
It's like the universe is always watching. To be in an abundance, if you're trying to increase your abundance, you have to be okay with that because the universe is always watching.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Yeah, that's amazing. And you have not only transcended all the limits of your brain, but also of your body by transforming from having bulky muscle to lean, ultra endurance athlete.
Yeah.
Your running adventures include completing 100 miles. That's, 160 kilometers.
That's right. Yeah. That's 20 hours of straight running. So it's like running
20
almost
hours straight running.
It's like 4 marathons at once.
4 marathons at once. And you have done that for 7 times. You have completed them for 7 times.
Yeah.
Right? That's insane. How do you develop this level of endurance?
Same thing. It's conscious intent. It's manifestation. Obviously, it's physical training, but those races are more mental because after 6 hours, your body's done. It's just your mind pushing you and having that strength and resiliency. And the reason, DJ, I took on those challenges is because I wanted to become the person on the other side of those ultra marathons, to become more potent, more powerful. I was in a phase, I was an ultra endurance athlete for over 10 years and I absolutely loved it. And the only reason I stopped is when I had daughters and, I had less time available to train and give energy towards that. And, the great thing is as I started, setting goals for these races, crushing those goals, and having very successful races, podium finishes, I started to notice every area of my life began to elevate. Why? Wow. Because I was growing, I was evolving, I was increasing my consciousness. It's like, I learned my greatest gift had been my greatest challenge. Well, now my life is comfortable. I'm a doctor, I have a very comfortable life. So now I have to find my challenges.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's
because I have to keep growing, right? Yeah, becoming an ultra endurance athlete was my challenge. Those are my challenges, right? Moving forward.
Absolutely. When a guy on that darkest phase of life could become a doctor and can come to this journey with limited resources in terms of having knowledge, and now you as a doctor is more equipped to be more than what you have even come. So,
exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's I always recall this quote from rather than it was a talk given by T.T. Rangarajan, and what he said is it's not about where to here, it's about here to where, and that makes a complete sense. And so you also talked as your health as a number one priority, and you have also taken these ultra marathon and all these adventures. So what does your exercise schedule looks like?
Well, when I was an endurance athlete, I used to train about 20 to 30 hours a week. Mm-hmm. So that was a lot. Now I have young children. Now I still exercise every day. And, one of the things that I'll say that for me, life can be very challenging. Life can throw us a lot of curveballs. I get up very early every morning and I always win the first hours of my day. And for me, I begin every single day for the past 26 years. I begin every single day visualization, visualizing my life, seeing it unfold perfectly, connecting with my dreams, my goals.
Yeah.
I journal every morning. I meditate every morning. And I do something called priming the pump, which is priming my nervous system. And I exercise every single morning. Some days I only have 20 minutes to do all that, and I get it all done. Other days I have 3 hours. So, every single day I love to exercise minimum 1 hour every day, minimum 7 days a week.
1 hour.
Minimum
7
1
days
hour.
a week. Yeah.
That's minimum. And for me, exercising is more mental than physical, because when I exercise, it's like I've just been given the most powerful drug on the planet to make me feel superhuman, so because actually science has shown the biochemical release as a result of exercising affects our mental emotional state better than any drug on the planet. Yeah.
Amazing.
So
awesome.
To me that's non-negotiable for me.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk a bit about your book, Beyond Body, Beyond Mind: Overcome Uncertainty, Transcend Challenges and Hardship, and Fulfill Your Dreams. What does this mean, beyond body, beyond mind? And you may also like to talk a bit about strategies you shared in your book to dial into your power and navigate around your world.
Absolutely. So, Beyond Body, the title of the book is how do we go beyond the limitations of our mind, beyond the limitations of our body? Obviously, I practice what I preach. I was told when I was a teenager, I was told by teachers and people like that I would never amount to anything in life. I lived in a mind body that was suboptimal, and I transcended. When I opened up, everything begins in the mind. If you believe you can, then the body will follow.
You can. Yeah.
And same thing. It's like, I used to be, growing up a hockey player, and I transformed into an endurance athlete, to go beyond the limitations of your body. So in this book, I have 9 strategies that allows us to tap into and cultivate that power and potential within our nervous system. I share my journey in the book. At the end of every chapter in the 9 strategies, I have very specific exercises. So people might be hearing this saying, hey, this all sounds great. How can I do this at home? Well, this is how you can do it at home, And when you read the book, I recommend people read through it once, then go back and then start reading the strategies and tools that are available inside there to really begin cultivating, to begin nurturing their power and potential. And this is what I'll say, BJ. Nothing in life is a magic bullet. Everything is a journey. Everything is a process. You want to get healthier. You want to get happier. It's not going to happen overnight. There's no magic pill bullet that's going to make it instantaneous. Everything is a process. Everything is a journey. But if you stay on that journey, I promise you, you will see light at the end of the tunnel, especially if you're in a darker phase in your life.
Absolutely amazing. I really love the cover of your book. You don't, have that professional, doctor kind of look. It's quite interesting to see those illustrations behind, How did you come up out of that idea? Your brain is, lifting the weights and I mean, that's
the heart's flying away.
To see.
Well, I mean, one of the things, a lot of people don't know this. Doctor actually means to teach. That's actually, if you go back to the root. So I'm a teacher. I'm a teacher of life principles, health, healing, maximizing human potential. When I speak, I've spoken to audiences all over the world from, thousands of people in audiences. And one of the things I love to do is grab a board and pull out a felt pen and begin teaching that way and showing people this is where you are. This is where you can get to. This is how you can do it. And actually, I probably will be in India speaking very, very soon.
Oh, really? I'd love to be here.
I'll keep you posted with that.
Sure.
And so literally when I was working with my design team, they would go, well, you love to teach. So it's like me standing there and the what's behind me is like a blackboard essentially. And it's like chalk with drawings on there, because when I teach, I love to draw pictures. I love to be, very, invoke people's emotions so they can actually feel what I'm saying. Keep it very simple in layman's terms and things like that. So that's really where the inspiration from the book came from.
Yeah, I really love that. And what do you think stops most people from going beyond their body, beyond their mind?
I mean, that's it. That's an easy answer. Themselves. You know, you stop yourself. You are the limitation of your own self. But here's the gift. You're also the solution to your present life circumstances. You are the problem and the solution simultaneously.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's really, it all comes, you know, for me, it all comes down to self-love and self-acceptance. The more that you love and accept yourself, the more that you know you can do and become anything in your life. Anything is possible for everybody, but we have to really be connected to who we are at a soul level, fully accept, you know, our faults, fully accept our greatness, and then allow that, you know, this thing called life is not about us. This thing called life is about how we can authentically make a difference in the world. We're all unique and special. You know, you have this beautiful podcast. This is your phase of life. This is your way of making the world a better place. Every single person can make the world a better place. So it's about connecting with what it is for you and then sharing that with the world.
And finding
and for me, you know, I'll tell you, you know, one of my greatest joys comes from serving others. And that's why, you know, I became a doctor, a teacher. That's why I wrote my book. That's why I speak all over the world and all the things that I'm a part of. It's about making an authentic difference in people's lives. It's impossible to not help others. And it's impossible to help others and not feel fulfilled and happy. If you're in a dark place and you feel down, go out and do something nice for another person. Do something positive, and you will start to feel the energy of that. It's impossible to not feel that.
Yeah. And, you know, being able to help other, you don't need to be, you don't need to be the world's richest person, or you don't have to have, you know, the helping other doesn't have to necessarily mean helping in terms of monetary.
Absolutely not.
It doesn't have to mean that way. Yeah, you can help them with some ideas. You can help them in small stuff that.
You know what, BJ? When I was 18, 19 years old, and I started on my journey, I had no money, I had no big ideas, and you know all I did? I would help elderly people cross the street. If I saw someone was down, I would give them a hug. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. That's where it began. That's how it began for me. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. And people really need to understand this. You know, it shouldn't have to be like, you know, I hear a lot of people saying, you know, I would have helped them, you know, have I achieved this or have I been to that level? It's always like, you know, pointing those people, those leaders, those, you know, rich people are not helping these people. You know, if I had been there, I would have helped them. It's not like that. It's as simple as that. Thank you for putting that up.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much for that. Yeah. Guys, Dr. Sukhi has got a lot of insights to share with you in his book, Beyond Body, Beyond Mind. Make sure you pick his book and let him know what you think about the new science Dr. Sukhi has put forward to help you live the life you have always dreamed about and to help you express extraordinary levels of health, happiness, and abundance. You can find a link to get his book and all the resources that we have talked about in this episode on show notes of this episode at theinspiringtalk.com/12. And anything you'd like to share, Dr. Sukhi, about your book before we move forward to Enlightening Round?
You know, the last thing I want to say is that, you know, with the company I'm part of, it's called Elysian Sciences, and we actually have an app, and the app is completely free. And on that app, we have something called a Mind Mastery Program. It's completely free. You can download the Elysian app anywhere in the world with your smartphone. And I've done the training, the Mind Mastery training on there. You watch a video, you listen to the audio from me, and then there's a worksheet in there. Download the Elysian app, do the Mind Mastery program, read my book, do the strategies in there. If people commit to that, 12 months from now, they will remarkably be a completely different human being.
Guys, make sure you get his app, and I'm going to include a link on the show notes of this episode as well.
Awesome.
And I'm pretty sure, you know, that this is going to bring real change, because this has worked for this man, and you can see how hard time was it for this man, and the experience that he brings is, like, you can just imagine out of his own life. He recovered and he healed his own life, and I'm pretty sure that it's gonna help you as well. So are you excited about the enlightening round?
Sure. I don't know what it is, but I'm excited.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to fire you some questions. It's kind of rapid fire round.
Okay,
you can say. But
cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's do it. Let's rock.
Yeah, let's do this. What inspires you to do everything that you do?
To leave this world a far better place than I entered it, for my daughter's generation and future generations.
Which one daily habit do you believe has been game changer for you in your success journey?
I win the first 60 minutes of my day. I get up early when everyone's still sleeping in my world, in my home, and I win the first 60 minutes of my day. Visualization, meditation, journaling, prime the pump, exercise.
And I have already won, my day today by being able to talk with you on first 60 minutes of my day.
There you go. You win because sometimes the rest of the day is just a bunch of challenges and curveballs. But if you can win the first 60 minutes, you'll handle them way better and be able to integrate and process them.
Yeah. Which one book, according to you, is a must read for everyone seeking to improve their life? And I'm pretty sure beyond body, beyond life is one. Apart from that, which one book?
Oh, man. I'm going to go back to my first book, Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich.
Think and Grow Rich. Awesome. If you were to start this success journey all over again, what are those 3 things that you would have done differently?
Okay. So I wouldn't have done anything differently because I believe life is a gift. But this is what I wish I would have known. I wish I would have known that the challenges in our life are blessings in disguise so we can discover who we are, first and foremost. Challenges are a gift. Number 2, begin with the end in mind. It's not that we won't achieve our dreams and goals. It's that we don't want to dream the biggest dreams. Begin with the end in mind. Take a step back. You are the conscious creator of your reality. It doesn't matter how big your dream is. Just focus on it. Think about it. The universe will support you. The people, places, and things will show up, and you can actually create that difference in the world. Number 3, it's all about love. It's about self-love, self-acceptance. And when you love yourself that much, you can then love all the other people in your world. And that is the most powerful force in the universe.
Awesome. It's been a great and absolute honor to have you here, Dr. Sukhi.
Thank you.
All the practical insights you shared here are for sure going to help a lot of people listening to this and help them get a step closer to their goals or dreams. Thank you so much. And how can people reach out to you, since, as you said, you are coming in India for your seminar, and if people want to learn more about you and your work, what's the best way to reach out to you?
Absolutely. You can go to drsukhi.com. That's a great place there. You can read more. There's some resources available there. That's probably the number one place. And that we also have Elysian.com as well. And that's our 3-part brain optimization, which is now just launching in India as well.
Wow. Awesome. Guys, make sure you connect with him. He is available on all the different social media platforms, and he is posting, his blogs on YouTube and on his own website. So go and check those out. Yeah, you release one vlog, right?
Yes.
A week?
Yeah,
so,
absolutely. I have vlogs and blogs and tons of content that comes out of there. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of insights on his blog, like videos are coming every week and a lot of insights. So before I say goodbye, Dr. Sukhi, any last piece of advice that you want to give out to my audience?
Yeah. The fact that you're listening to this means you might not believe this, but if you're listening to this, you're already in the 1% of the world, the 1% that makes a difference. You may not feel that in this moment, but you've taken time out of your life to listen to this podcast, which is very different than the conversation that happens, especially in a place like India.
Yeah.
So know that, use the tools and strategies, be on the path and journey, and, you know, share your light and share your greatness with the world, because the world needs it.
Absolutely. It has been phenomenal. Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you, BJ.
Hey friend, thank you so much for listening to this episode. I really appreciate it. And if you enjoyed listening to this and learned something out of this, make sure to share this with your friends by visiting theinspiringtalk.com/12. All the links to his book, app, and other resources are included on show note of this episode over at theinspiringtalk.com/12. As you must know, how you talk to yourself most of the time shapes who you become over time. So please choose your words wisely. I have created a free self-talk PDF with powerful 9 self-talk that is practiced by successful people all the time. These self-talks done consistently can help you become more powerful, grateful, and positive in your own life. If you want to get this, visit theinspiringtalk.com/free and get this PDF now. Thank you for listening. I'll catch you in the next, and now go out there and do something inspiring.